We got him. Hey, all guests on 95.7 The Game appear on the River Islands guest line. Isn't it time for you to discover the islands? River Islands in Lathrop. Let's welcome in Jimmy King, member of the iconic Fab Five at the University of Michigan back in the early 90s, played in back-to-back NCAA championships, and he's now currently director of basketball at the Jalen Rose Leadership Academy. Jimmy, thanks for joining us, man. Really appreciate it.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? Thanks for having me.
Right Absolutely. Hey, is Yaxel Lendeborg any good?
Let's go. I think he's all right.
tell us out here in the bay.
Yeah, three guys in the lottery sounds pretty good. I think I've seen that film before.
Just tell us a little bit about his game. Obviously, we're out here in the Bay. Some people aren't that familiar with it. They know he's 23. They know he's mature. But what about his game on the floor?
What I can say about the Golden State fans is they're going to love his game because I feel like it's the perfect place for him. They have a system. I don't think he's necessarily a system guy, but I think that he'll thrive, well in the system, just because of what Michigan has done in the past couple of years, what they did this past year, and me being so close to the program and watching them, and just seeing how he operates, within, a well-developed system. I think that that's kind of, what they're hoping he will bring a value add to the Golden State Warriors this year. And I don't think it's going to be a problem. I think it's plug and play. I think he's mature. He's 23 years old. He's been through multiple programs. And as you can see, it doesn't take him long to adjust. He doesn't have an ego. He knows how to fit in, even though he was the leader, a mitigated leader for Michigan. There were games where, he took a back seat in order for other guys to shine, for them to just be successful and win. That's the type of player you're going to get.
Man, good stuff, Jimmy. I don't know your buddy Jalen Rose, but we had the All-Star game here a couple years ago. We were at a venue. I went up to him, just told him thanks for giving back with the Academy, and I want to thank you, and I told our listeners I was going to do that before you came on, for helping them with that and giving back, man. That's big. I wanted to ask you this. You got drafted by the Raptors in the 95 NBA draft. What was your wake-up moment to the league, and what would you share, if you haven't, with Yaxel or any of the youngsters that you know that are going to the league?
Yeah, my wake-up moment to the league was really prior to getting drafted. I was in Chicago with Juwan, spending some time working out there, and we went over to the Michael Jordan restaurant, and Mike was holding a meeting in the back of the restaurant. And if you've ever been there, seen the setup, he has his own office in the back, huge office with a huge meeting room, like a 20-seat board member meeting room. And they were in their meeting, and the door was cracked. So he peeked in, he saw us. He stopped the meeting. You could tell it was a serious meeting. He stopped the meeting, comes in, he hugs Juwan, and I stick my hand out, and I'm like, "Hey, Mr. Jordan, how you doing?" Yeah. And he just looked at me, and he was like, "I know who you are," like that. And so that right there was like, oh, like MJ knows who I am? Like, he actually knows who I am. So that was, to me, like a welcoming into the league because before I was drafted, when I left that meeting, he was like, "I'll see you next year," not knowing that I would be drafted or not. And when I told my people about like how that meeting went, they said, "What, don't you think that was a challenge when he said he'll see you next year?" And that, to me, was my first welcome into the league. And I was like, that was a challenge.
That's cool. That's a cool story. Jimmy King joining us on 95.7 The Game. He was a member of the Fab Five teams in the early 90s for Michigan, went to back-to-back national championship games, and now he's the director of basketball at Jalen Rose's Leadership Academy. Let me run this by you. We heard this after yesterday's draft. Obviously, there were a lot of young players picked in this draft, but according to a writer out here, the Warriors had a list of players that they thought are the best players right now. Not what they might be, not what they're going to be down the line, but right now. And they had Boozer ranked 1, and they had Lendeborg and Burris tied for 2nd, which means they thought that those 3 guys right now, forget the future, are the best players. Is that believable to you?
That is believable. I can see that. And that's interesting because if AJ Dabasa is not, in that top 3, that's interesting. But what that means is, I think that just means that guys are able to, catch up to speed quicker and able to plug and play and be supplemental players, not necessarily, the number 1 or 2 player, but a complemental or supplemental player that can elevate your team tremendously. And I think that's what that is saying about them. But for Yaxel to be on that list says a lot about, how they feel about him coming in and playing immediately.
Man, Jimmy, Yaxel 6'9", 240, and I'm telling my partner and the fans here, we need a Thundercat. That's, young, some muscle. With the way that the NBA is played now, do you think it's going to be easier for him? Because I think it's less physical, but I want your thoughts to where he could hit the ground running and use all of that 6'9", 240 right out to shoot.
Absolutely. You hit it 100% on the head. Me and Jalen were just talking about this a couple of days ago about, no offense to, like an Austin Reeves, someone who has played well and earned their money. Right. But back in our day, we would have beat him up. There's no way he would have averaged 25 a game. We'd have beat him up. And to, the question, it is less physical. That doesn't mean they're less skilled or we were more skilled. It's just less physical. And so the things that guys are used to getting off or being more comfortable in doing or having the confidence in doing, it just wasn't the case. But I do believe that, players overall are still tough. Some are just tougher than others.
Jimmy King joining us on 95.7 The Game, played on the Fab Five teams on Michigan in the early 90s. Hey, obviously you guys had 3 guys picked in the top 12. I want to concentrate a little bit on Mara because he was also linked to the Warriors, obviously a center, 7'3". Just if I say, is he anything like Zach Edey, how would you answer that question?
Zach Edey and I think the comparison really is just size for them. I think he's a different skill type of player. I think he could shoot outside more consistently than an Edey. His back to the basket game is underrated. I think if he concentrates on working out on some of the skill levels with his back to the basket or mid-range, or facing up to mid-range, I think he'll be a deadly fit. And again, he's in a great system. I think he's going to a great system with OKC. I think he'll be a great, kind of backup or someone that can, feed off with Chet, kind of play with Chet. I think it'll be hard to put them 2 at the same time. But if Chet is the type of player that we're seeing or think he is, I think it'll work. But I also think that Mara has a very bigger upside than people think.
Gotcha.
Hey, Jimmy, let me ask you this. I'm kind of weird in this way. I'm always telling my partner, this player reminds me of somebody in the past or present. Is there anybody you play with or playing in the league now that Yaxel's game reminds you of?
Ooh,
I said Aaron Gordon. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I like that. I like the Aaron Gordon. I like that. I was going to say a bigger Jamal Mashburn.
Wow. Okay,
I like that too. Right. I like that too.
Yeah. I think you can get that from him. I think, again, and we heard Dusty say this too a couple of times, that he doesn't know how good he is. So when he figures out, like, you know, how, like to be that dog, I mean, he is, but to be that guy, we'll see some 50-point games out of him, some 40, 50-point games out of him.
Whoa!
All right, Jimmy, I got to get in. I got to get into this. This has been bothering me.
Here we go.
I've been curious about this for 30 plus years. I'm a little bit older than you. I graduated from college in the mid '80s. I played Division III basketball. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
And I had a big butt. I was kind of like John Bagley. Remember John Bagley went to Boston College?
No doubt.
So I hated tight uniforms, so I'd wear these big baggy shorts, really big and really baggy. And that was in 1986, okay?
Yes, sir.
That was 5 years before you guys. Where did you guys get that idea? Let's start giving some credit.
You.
There you go.
We clearly got it from you.
That's all I wanted to hear. No, like, where did you guys, like, did you talk about the style of, just the style and the image you guys brought? Was that a part of something you kind of choreographed, if you will, the five of you guys?
It absolutely was. It was all choreographed. It was all thought of. It was all premeditated. We wanted to, aesthetically look good. We wanted to be uniformed. We all wanted to wear the same shoe and socks. And that's one thing that, as a director of basketball operations at JRLA, that's what I'm bringing back. Like, everybody's going to wear the same shoe. They're wearing the same socks. They're going to be uniformed. Nobody's wearing tight shorts. We're not doing that.
Look at you.
And, yeah. So, but yes, it was calculated. And it was really just a thing of just, being in tune with, like, the time and the culture, hip hop, baggy shorts, baggy pants, baggy shirts, everything was 3X and 4X. I can't believe I wore 4X shirts and, 3X jeans like crazy. But, but that was the style, and we wanted to be a part of that and be in the forefront.
Yeah, Jimmy, I don't want to be messy because you guys were like the Temptations, like, the Beatles for us. And, for a little while, it was known that Webb and Jalen weren't seeing eye to eye, and that's been fixed, and I saw a picture of you guys all together. But can you just speak to what that means to you? Because, I'm on the West Coast. I love to see that.
It means everything. And, as we all know, we family, and sometimes brothers fight. And one thing about it is, I can say something, or Jalen can say something, or Ray or Juwan can say something, or Chris can say something about each other. But you can't.
Gotcha.
That's how that goes. But at the end of the day, yes, relationship is mended. It was great to be back with my brothers, and look forward to a lot of things that we have coming up in the near future together.